Ultimately, fundamentals of life is sort of blue sky, hypothesis-driven research. So we're really interested in the basic questions and we kind of tackle really any fundamental questions. But obviously, since we are medical and life sciences colleges, we are then focusing on disease, we are focusing on organisms, and we are also focusing on different systems. We're focusing on the immune system, on the neuronal system, and also on the cardiovascular system.
So in the fundamentals of life, we're addressing the most critical mechanisms, processes, and pathways that underpin life in all its aspects. We go from very simple cells, like microbial cells, all the way to humans. The basic idea of fundamentals of life is to actually address these very common pathways that are critical for all types of cells. So of course there are differences between the different organisms, but we want to focus on the really fundamental pathways that underpin all of these in terms of how they're made, how they respond to stress, how they develop, so that we can then have more long-term success in identifying ways to create better medicines, better health for humans, but also understand how all organisms respond to stresses, all the way from animals to plants to humans.
What's actually essential about fundamentals of life that we're not looking at this in isolation. So just to give you an example of dementia. So in dementia, people think, and probably used to think and think now, that it has a lot to do with amyloid plaques. And neurologists are kind of studying this. People who are interested in the brain study this. But more recently, it's become apparent that also dementia is almost certainly underpinned by inflammation and maybe also by gut bacteria. So again, the idea is if we want to solve the big problems of our society like dementia, we need to look at this in a multidisciplinary approach, and we need to look across diseases and across systems.
We want to draw and understand and discover the common pathways that actually can be a driver for further discoveries in the future that can have a consequence and ramifications for a whole range of diseases and not just one particular disease. So we'll try to understand the fundamental workings so that we can probably understand the commonalities between, say, dementia, as Monika mentioned, heart disease, cancer, infection, etc.
So we have all seen an amazing increase in life expectancy over the last 150 years, which has been great. But unfortunately, that hasn't really been matched by a similar increase in health and sort of healthy lifespan. And that is an enormous challenge which we have to face because, of course, if we're looking at this in terms of future development, by 2050, the number of people over 60 will outweigh the number of people under 15. So that is, of course, one of the big challenges that we have to face, which means that the number of age-related diseases will increase exponentially, and we have to tackle them. One of the challenges, again, to do this is that we're still kind of looking at disease and also health-related diseases in terms of siloed approaches. And this is really not the way forward.
One of the really big challenges is to make the links between what we discover in the lab on very fundamental research to the clinical research that is being done, and to produce and design more innovative, more efficient medicines and therapeutics. In some cases of disease, like rare disease, for example, there is absolutely no therapy. In other cases of diseases like cancer, for example, and other common diseases, there are therapies, there are drugs, but we also have resistance to these drugs or patients relapsing. So what we're trying to develop over the next 10 years is also strategies where the commonalities in terms of the pathways that are important for these different types of diseases will allow us to be able to create more efficient therapies to overcome chemoresistance, for example.
We would like to think that ill health is not inevitable, and that really, as a college, we are really best placed to kind of tackle health-related diseases.
So there has been an investment in creating completely new cross-thematic centers that brings together expertise in particular areas. So we have critical mass, and we can actually develop that in areas like, for example, mitochondrial research, healthy aging, etc., where we bring experts from different fields, and this is all underpinned by the capacity that we have in terms of the technologies, cryo-EM facilities, a whole range of biophysics analysis of protein RNA interactions, a lot of analysis of the respiratory capacity of cells, for example, and we can develop that new ethos of cross collaboration So we have already created templates for such collaborations through these cross-thematic centers that will expand to other colleges in the university, bringing together chemists, physicists, engineers. And this is where we see our future in our capacity to address these big challenges that are important for the next 10 years. We are rethinking of the way we do research. We are innovating in cross collaborations, and we actually want the younger generation to be part of it right from the beginning. That's why we have decided to advertise for college future fellowships as a means to bring on board young researchers that have this ethos of collaboration, the vision to address the challenges that we also agree are the important ones for the future.
We want people to come here to do the best research that they can in the area that they're happy with. We want them to obviously collaborate internationally in their research area. But what we are also looking for is then for people who are then happy to reach out and leave their comfort zone and talk to people in other disciplines. They don't have to be experts in other disciplines, but just incorporate the knowledge from the other disciplines really across all of our colleges in their research to then really tackle the bigger questions, because no single researcher can tackle the bigger questions which we've just covered by themselves.